Sagamore Hill National Historic Site was the home of Theodore Roosevelt, 26th U.S. President. As one of our nation's beloved and admired leaders, President Theodore Roosevelt's legacy lasts to this day. He was a diplomat, internationalist, soldier, and Assistant Secretary of the Navy who became a major force in shaping the nation's political climate. As a conservationist, Theodore Roosevelt was responsible for the preservation of the hundreds of national parks that we enjoy today. He created federal protection of these important places by establishing the United States Forest Service, signing into law the first national parks, and establishing U.S. national monuments under the newly signed Antiquities Act. During his presidency, Sagamore Hill became an important landmark as it served as Roosevelt's summer White House. From 1902 to 1908, countless historical events, including visits from foreign dignitaries and talks that would eventually help end the Russian-Japanese War, occurred at Sagamore. This historic site sits on 95 acres of forest, tidal salt marsh, and Bay Beach, and the 23-room Victorian-styled house is still furnished as it was during Roosevelt's busy lifetime. The Sagamore Hill Front Hall immediately expresses the spirit and enthusiasm of Theodore Roosevelt, outdoorsman and world traveler. Here is where Roosevelt greeted visitors, as he watched their arrival from his desk in the adjacent library. The prominent Cape buffalo head over the fireplace is one of Roosevelt's many hunting trophies and the home from his travels to Africa, Brazil, and throughout North America. Down the front hall is the spectacular North Room, a treasure trove of objects and souvenirs from the remarkable life of Theodore Roosevelt. It is the room at Sagamore Hill most evocative of the spirit and dynamism of this amazing American. The North Room was added in 1905, after Edith tired of using her drawing room as a waiting area for TR's visitors. It's furnished with an eclectic mix of family furniture, hunting trophies, presidential gifts, and artwork. Across from the library, Edith kept the formal drawing room as her own private domain and personal office. Here, Edith oversaw the family finances, relaxed, read and knitted, wrote letters, and took tea with friends. Meals at Sagamore Hill were formal. Even when dining alone, the family dressed for dinner. Theodore Roosevelt enjoyed entertaining. He was a charming, witty, and candid host, encouraging an enthusiastic exchange of ideas. Mrs. Roosevelt came down to the kitchen every morning to meet with her cook, review menus, and brief the staff on the day's schedule. Much of Sagamore Hill's food was produced on their farm. Through the 1890s, 3 rooms on the second floor of Sagamore Hill served as a suite dedicated to the care and housing of a procession of small children. TR and Edith described them as their bunnies. Next door, the south bedroom served as the night nursery, where the youngest children slept with their nurse. While Theodore and Edith Roosevelt shared this bedroom, their children always called it Mother's Room. The dressing room shares a connecting closet with the Roosevelt's bedroom, but it was reserved for TR's use and is definitely almond. Guest rooms were reserved for visiting family and friends, and Edith resisted her children's attempts to take them over. TR's young niece Eleanor, the future First Lady, stayed in this small guest room during her visits as a child. Even after leaving the nursery, the 4 Roosevelt boys often shared bedrooms. Each of the boys, at one time or another, occupied this room. The contents of the boys' room reflect their shared interest in sports, games, books, and the outdoors. As the eldest Roosevelt child, Alice Lee Roosevelt always claimed her own room and would not compete with her siblings for space. The bedroom set in Alice's room once belonged to her mother, Alice Hathaway Lee Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt died at Sagamore Hill on January 6, 1919, at age 60. On the last day of his life, Edith caught him gazing pensively out the window of the gate room. Roosevelt turned to her and said, "I wonder if you know how I love Sagamore Hill." Edith lived here for 29 more years, dying in 1948 at age 87. The Theodore Roosevelt Association bought the home and its contents and opened it as a museum in 1953. It was transferred to the National Park Service in 1962. It is now maintained as a National Historic Site, for the benefit of the American people, filled with the same belongings and furnishings it held when the presence of Theodore Roosevelt and his energetic family filled this amazing house, Sagamore Hill. For many people, Theodore Roosevelt was the most fascinating man ever to lead the nation. An appealing mix of high moral purpose and humorous enthusiasm for life, he was an irresistible subject for both scholars and a popular press that often portrayed Teddy as more outlandish than his actions warranted. His activities and achievements can only be hinted at here. Roosevelt was an extraordinary combination of bluff, exuberant man of action and bookish, reflective man of letters. Reading was his solace and refuge. TR's spirit here is evoked by the house's more than 6,000 books. Biography, the classics, history, poetry, fiction, science, his reading was both broad and deep. Somehow, in a life crowded with enormous public and family responsibilities, he also found time to write more than 30 volumes, histories, biographies, social and political commentary, natural science, memoirs, travel writing, adventure tales, and countless editorials, essays, and articles. He was not, he once said, an original thinker, but he was an excellent writer whose incisive thoughts on a wide range of topics still command our interest. After the house tour, we returned to the visitor center to see the museum. The small museum has only 3 rooms, but the exhibit is a comprehensive overview of Roosevelt's life and political accomplishments. Theodore Roosevelt Jr., Ted, and his wife Eleanor Alexander Roosevelt built the house they called Old Orchard in 1937 to 1938 on 4 acres of land purchased from Ted's mother in the Sagamore Hill apple orchard. Now Theodore Roosevelt Museum is located there, which chronicles the life and career of the president. The small museum has only 3 rooms, but the exhibit is a comprehensive overview of Roosevelt's life and political accomplishments. Visitors can explore exhibits that showcase Roosevelt's personal and political life, his contributions to conservation, and his enduring legacy. The museum is called Old Orchard. Sagamore Hill was closed for about 4 years, from 2011 to 2015, to allow for restoration work to take place. The Sagamore Hill Visitor Center was destroyed by a fire on Christmas Eve 2018. No one was injured, as Sagamore Hill was closed due to the government shutdown. Once you've toured the house and seen the museum, consider taking a walk around the grounds. Behind the visitor center is a woodland trail leading to Cold Spring Harbor. From the trail, cross the boardwalk to reach a pebbled beach strewn with seashells. This beach was once the private beach for the Roosevelt family, where they would swim and boat during the summer months. I hope you like my video tour. It's always a joy to discover new places. Do not forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you.